Welcome to this episode of Talking with Success. Today I'm talking with Carranza Wade. Carranza is a proud father, leader, man of faith. We connected a couple of weeks ago and I said, man, your story is going to be impactful. When I heard it, I was like, okay, I got to get him on here. We got to sit down and talk. Carranza's built his career in leadership and project management before making a pivotal shift in real estate after a career change in 2020. So let's get into it, man.
Appreciate that.
When I reached out to you, I've been seeing everything you've been posting on social media about real estate and marketing. I know you're passionate about helping people. So in the last 5 years, I think you've helped like 100 families. It's crazy. So how did you make the shift into real estate?
Really, just after getting laid off my job for 17 years, I had to make a decision whether to stay within corporate America or, follow my dream. And follow my heart and my passion. So I was always interested in real estate, and it was like, okay, it's like God closed one door, opened up another door, and I kicked it down.
So was it a quick transition?
Yeah, it was immediate. It was immediate. My last day, of course, when we was laid off in 2020, we knew when our last day was going to be. So my last day was like August 15th of 2020. That was a Friday. The 18th, I started real estate school. That Monday, and I finished the class in 2 weeks. Of course, it was during COVID, wasn't outside or anything like that, nothing to do. So it was like, go ahead and knock it out in 2 weeks. 108 hours. The dedication, but I ain't had nothing else to do. We was we was shut in. We couldn't go anywhere. We was just at home. So it was like, okay, what am I going to do to make the most of this time? It was like, okay, I looked at the schedule online. I was like, oh, I can knock this out. So I went ahead and knocked it out.
Okay. So once you finish that, you do the class, you finish the 2 week time period. Then what's next?
Well, it wasn't real estate. So during that time, a lot was going on. Personally, professionally, entrepreneurially. So during that time, I got separated, started a divorce process. So really while I was in real estate class. So I missed that, got separated. I had started my arcade business prior to COVID happening. So when I finished real estate class, the next step would have been to take the test. But the city of DeSoto called and said, hey, we got you. You can have your meeting with the city council, start getting your permits, different things like that. And I was already financially invested in that. So I was like, I need to really get the ball rolling on this arcade business. So I kind of pushed real estate to the side and went full blown into, getting my permits, getting my building, doing the construction. Did that from September, started that in September and finished that the week before Thanksgiving. And I did my expedited process. So, had to get that thing done. And I had my soft opening the week of Thanksgiving. Had my soft opening. Then as that business kind of started going and getting open, then I kind of got back to the real estate part to take my test. So I ended up taking my test in January of 2022. No, 21. I'm sorry. 21. Yep.
So you leave one job. You leave a career that you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
You go into step in entrepreneurship, and you were forced. Were you forced, or were you already kind of leaning?
Well, like I said, the arcade business had started in 2020 prior to knowing I was even getting laid off. Okay. So I had been kind of dabbling into different entrepreneurial things. I had an online T-shirt store prior to that, but the arcade, like I said, I started that process at the end of December of 19, going into 2020. Then COVID hit in March. So it was like everything kind of got halt. Then I kind of really wanted to back out of the arcade because it was public, and then we going through a pandemic. You really can't. But I had already spent money. Yeah, I was already invested in it. Yeah, so I got to see it through. So I went ahead and opened the doors to that business and everything. And then that's when I was like, okay, I can go ahead and take the test for the real estate and get going with that.
So how long did you have the arcade going before you decided to make the full-blown shift?
For the full-blown shift, I think, when I cut the arcade, it was in 2022, the beginning of 2022. Basically, my sons, it was like, hey, man, you working a lot, because I'm a single dad. They was like, man, look, kind of like really got to make a decision. But it was easy. Just like, okay, let's get the cars packed up. We're going to go take the stuff out the building and bring it home. So shut the arcade down like just that day, literally.
So that was a family decision. Sons need me, I got to make a shift. At that point, it's a no-brainer.
Right. Family first. But also the arcade wasn't necessarily profitable. I mean, I was kind of even with it. And I felt like it was about to start taking off because in 2022, things was kind of opening up, but everybody's kind of feeling a little more comfortable with vaccines and such. But at that time is really when I saw real estate actually starting to pay dividends. And so it was like, okay, I had a little bit more life flexibility with them, still make the incomes I want to make, doing what I love. The arcade wasn't really what I loved. It was more like something to do, to be in the entrepreneurial space, because I thought it would be something I can do while still having my corporate job. Yeah. But then the corporate job was no longer there. I'm like, now I got to follow my heart. And then the corporate job, they actually called me back. Yeah, they did. They called me back. Matter of fact, that first year of real estate, as I'm going through my struggles with that in 2021, they was like, hey, you want to come back? I literally told them, I said, nope, I'm going to bet on myself. I said, if this doesn't work, I'm pretty sure y'all still want me. You know what I mean? So it was like, I'm just going to bet on myself. I just went all in.
Point when they call you back, you've already got your license, you're already in real estate. Are you already thriving?
No, I'm failing.
What?
Big time. Like, man, that first year, 2021, like I said, I got on my brokerage March 1st. And like I said, I'm doing both. I'm doing the arcade and real estate, but I'm really cranking out real estate during the day, trying to figure this whole thing out. And at that time, the market was going crazy. Like every real estate agent during that time made money, was making big money because it was a seller's market. The interest rates were low. People relocating from California, Canada, Florida, New York, money just flying around. People buying, selling like crazy, except for me. I don't even know what's going on around me. I'm like, because I don't have a community of people. My mentor was so busy at the time that he really couldn't, pour into me like he wants, because he's all over the place, and I couldn't blame him. I'm like, you're trying to make money for your family or whatever. And so I was kind of spending the money that I did have, trying to buy leads. I was working with a few clients that didn't have a lot of money. We getting outbid on every single house. Like, because she didn't have a lot of money. At the time, see, my main client is really putting in offers. I mean, writing offers every day.
Yeah, and it was
competitive. I mean, we pull up to a house, we standing in line to get in. People was locking the doors. Agents would lock the door and write offers in the house. Man, it was crazy.
So all this going on around you.
Yes.
And like you said, it's a buyer's market. People doing deals.
Man, it was exploding.
How were you handling that? Coming in fresh into new venture, new industry. Of course, there's a learning curve, and you see everybody around you having a certain amount of success, and it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, you can either do one or two things. I mean, you can tuck your tail and retreat, or you can just go figure it out. It's like I just started seeking out different resources, going into different rooms with people, trying to rub elbows. Hey, man, get information. What are you guys doing? What are you doing here and there? Just trying to figure out what I need to be doing differently to create the success, which was different for me because in corporate America, I literally been working from home since 2007. So we was working from home when that wasn't a normal thing. So I wasn't, if it wasn't a business relationship, I really didn't talk to that many people. So going in rooms where I don't know anybody it was scary. There was a lot of anxiety, but it was like, man, look, I got 2 people to feed. I got 2 people to house. So it's like, I don't have time to be scared. You know what I'm saying? Or fearful of anything. I'm like, I'm just going to go in, be confident, and believe in me and get this thing done. So I started getting some people to network with and whatnot. And that was kind of what I had to do. But it still wasn't paying off.
So you get on with a broker, you said March. How long was it before you actually started seeing the benefits and the rewards?
I closed my first deal December 23rd, 2021. So it was more than 9 months.
What were you doing to sustain yourself?
Well, I'm pretty frugal. I'm pretty frugal, so, 17 years, there's a pretty good severance package there. You know what I mean? So, had the severance package there. So was able to sustain our normal quality of life, but, it was dwindling.
Yeah.
I mean, it was after 9 months.
So the pressure is probably up here.
Bro, wasn't sleeping. They didn't know.
Yeah.
You can't I try to keep everything as normal as possible for them. Man, it was dwindling. Christmas was looking real dire. So getting that closing on December 23rd, never forget it. It was like, my kids gonna have Christmas. Okay. You know what I mean? And so, but on top of that, going into 2022, I had a few new leads that I had acquired that were looking to purchase in the beginning of 2022. That one closing really kind of got me going. I really can do this. And then it's like, okay, with the people that I had coming behind them, it's like, all right, I got y'all. So
was it difficult for you going through, mindset-wise? You go go 9 months, and you see all these people around you that are in the same industry and they're thriving, right? And it's easy to have that mindset.
Nah, I was never gonna do anything different. Because I got to the point where, man, I don't want, I mean, if you work somewhere for 17 years and one day they say we no longer need you, what's going to prevent that from happening again? And at that time, I'm in my 40s. You know what I mean? So at some point, ageism is going to kick in to where it's like, man, we're not going to be able to pay you what you're accustomed to getting paid. We can start you off from here. Like, man, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to do a resume. I don't want to go talk to your HR people. I don't want to talk to your recruiters. I'm betting on me. And if I can make it, I know I can make this happen. It's like, you just got to be almost obsessed. You know what I mean? The mindset is different for somebody that is in real estate because you only get paid when the deal is closed and funded.
That's the crazy thing about that, right? Is, when I think about the fact that nowadays I see so many people that say, hey, I'm in real estate. And it's easy, especially in the age of social media. And so for those people that don't, explain to them, like you just said, you don't get paid in real estate. You're not getting paid a salary. You're not getting paid so much every month or whatever, whether you close or not. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the big thing a lot of people don't think about is the fact of everything that you see online is not real. No. Probably 90% of it is not real. It's not real. So in order for you to have that mindset back then of, hey, I'm going to grind this out. Like you said, the old company called you back, asked you to come back, and you said, no, I'm going to bet on myself. Yeah. And then you went 9 months before you closed your first deal. The majority of people would have, hey, I signed up in March. By April, if I don't have a check, I'm done. I'm going to go do something else.
Exactly, man. But I mean, it's like I said, it's a different kind of mindset. And what people got to understand is everything you ever want and desire in life is on the other side of discomfort. True. So being uncomfortable, but still having that mindset, I mean, it's the consistency and discipline and getting up doing the same thing every day. You got to take the small wins. I mean, it's not going to always pay off immediately. Immediate gratification, and you looking for that. That's why people are so in and out of this business, because they want the immediacy of the wins. They don't want to take the losses. The lesson is in the loss. You don't learn nothing when you win all the time. Going 9 months, without getting paid from real estate just built up a lot of girth, but it also created a lot of learning opportunities as well. And so I was able to, you got to be able to dissect your own life and say, okay, what am I not doing well? And then what can I do better? How can I get better? And so that was my mindset, and that's what I did. So real estate looks glamorous online. Mm-hmm. I can go and walk into $1 million houses all day. I don't know that many people buying $1 million houses. I only sold $2 million houses out of the 100. Okay. You know what I mean? And so it's the everyday person, the 200 to 300, $1,000 houses. Those are people that are, the middle class people that you're impacting on an everyday basis. So, I mean, real estate agents on average probably making about $40K a year. Really? They're not making the whole, not every agent not making six figures. Okay. And it looks like, okay, you sell a house, you get a big commission check, but then you got your broker split, you got to pay your taxes, you got to reinvest into your business because it's not a job, it's a business. So whatever lead generation, marketing things that you're doing, you got to reinvest that money, and then you got to pay your life expenses. So you really got to stay on it to consistently produce and consistently helping families. If you're not really solving no problems, you're not really being successful. That's the bottom line.
And that's key that you say that, because I've heard it said before, the quickest way to become rich, first of all, the quickest way to become rich is be born into money. Secondly, is to marry into money. Mm-hmm. But other than that is to find a problem that affects a lot of people and solve that problem.
And that's the thing about real estate. You're thinking it's about like people buying houses, selling houses. But behind every purchase and every sale is an issue that needs to be solved. So if you're a seller, your house may be too big, it may be too small, it may be, you may be spending too much money on repair. You may want to change school districts. You might be divorced. It might be death, relocation, different job. There's a whole lot of reasons why people sell homes. But the same thing for people buying homes, same reasons. So it's like, okay, I need to get to the root cause of why is it that you want to do this transaction? How is this going to impact your family? How is it going to make your life better? Whether it's selling the house or you buying a home. Okay. And if I can understand that, then I got something to work with. But if you just tell me you want to buy a house, I need to understand why.
Yeah, and that's key, because when you think about it, you're in the people business. You're in the relationship business, right, as opposed to everything just being about a transaction.
Right. It's all about relationships. I call all my clients, they all my cousins. You know what I'm saying? We get family. I get the invites to the baby showers, the Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that stuff, because we really, as a real estate agent, you take on so many roles that you didn't account for.
Okay.
You're going to be a counselor. You're going to be an advisor. You're going to be, man, I'm just a full resource. You just have no idea. And that's why it's important to meet so many different people. Like, I just had a transaction that closed and, they was like, man, they want to replace the HVAC system. Made a phone call, got it done.
Okay.
It's about, having people in your network that you can also dish out as resources to these clients, in multiple different ways. So yeah, works out that way.
So to be as successful as you've been so far in this career, you come in contact with a lot of people. I would think you got to have a personality where you enjoy talking to people.
You got to talk to people, man. I just made a post about that today. About people not answering the phone.
Yeah.
It's like you're an entrepreneur, man. You have to answer your phone.
It is crazy you say that because I see that all the time. I reach out to potential contractors and companies, restaurants and stuff like that. And they advertise, hey, call, we cater and do all that stuff. And then you reach out to them. I got to leave a voicemail. You don't call me back for 2 weeks. By the time you call back, I've already moved on and found somebody else. Yep.
I mean, it's so much business that is lost and gained based on somebody not answering the phone or somebody answering the phone. It don't take one person to change your life.
True.
It takes one person to change your life. That could be on the other side of that phone call that you didn't take because you don't know the number. Yeah. You're not supposed to when you're in business. People supposed to go on Google and find you and call your phone, but the crazy part, it's like even other agents, like, we had I got to call other agents to get transactions, hey, look, you got a listing. I need to ask you some questions or different things like that. Like, man, y'all not answering the phone, but y'all got somebody's biggest asset listed. You're responsible for helping them sell it, but you're not answering the phone. You're not texting back. You're not doing anything. Like, it's crazy. Man, I'm answering the phone all the time. But I mean, these are small. It's the small things that differentiate you between other people. And so, I mean, I get it. Everybody don't answer the phone every time you call because, if you busy agent, you should be working with clients. You should be on the phone, having appointments and different things, but at least call back. If I can't answer the phone, I'll, if I'm first chance I get, hey, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you right back. Just communicate. I just want to be as communicative as I could possibly be. You're just running this business because best compliment you'll ever get as a real estate agent is when your clients say, I thought I was the only person you was working with. So if you can make people feel like they're the only people that you're working with, although you're working with multiple people at the same time, that's the greatest compliment you can get. Absolutely.
So you got 2 sons?
2.
With everything that you've gone through, going into the transition that you made, I'm pretty sure that you realize not only do I know I have to succeed watching what kind of message.
Man, hopefully I just send this the message is that, man, look, you can do anything you put your mind to. You gotta have some type of purpose. You gotta wake up with some type of purpose every day. Like what's your purpose? What's your why? They are my why. So it's just different being a father. Like I said, I've been with them since they were born. Like every day of their life, you know what I mean? Like I told them, I said, your first month of living, I've been with you more than I even seen my own dad. You know what I'm saying? They first month of life. I can't even think when they were born, I can't even think I probably seen my dad 30 days. You know what I'm saying? And my oldest son born when I was right before I turned 30. So, that's the why. Like I said, they think, they told me before they think I'm a superhero. You know what I'm saying?
I would think for every parent, but especially for every father.
Oh man, that's what we want. That's it right there.
That will.
That's it.
To know that, hey, I'm doing something.
Yeah. Just kind of showing, man. You can be self-made. The idea of, like I said, I get it. Everybody has their path. Whether it's going to college, going to trade school, starting a bit, whatever it is you do. It's just like we were in our generation. It was like go to college. You had 2 choices: go to college, go to the military. Being an entrepreneur was not an option. It literally was not an option. You know what I mean? And so, going to college, I didn't graduate college. Went to college like 3 years, then like got into the workforce. Everywhere I worked at, I made my way up. You know what I'm saying? So I knew like I had something different in me that I could, I always wanted to be my own boss. Not for the sake of just being a boss. It's just like I can do this on my own. Like I don't want to have to rely on somebody else, every 2 weeks, every month, however the pay cycle is to get paid, And I wanted to show my sons, hey man, you can go out here and get this thing done,
And so do you think, what I know for myself, I've seen like most people that I come in contact with that have reached a certain level of success, regardless of what industry they're in, or a career choice. They've had so many opportunities where they could have given up,
Mm-hmm.
taken a detour. So I often ask people, did you choose the purpose?
I chose the purpose, and as I got into it, the purpose chose me. So I chose this real estate thing because I like houses. I like, helping people. I didn't realize the impact I was gonna have on people's life though. Had no idea. Because it wasn't about solving problems. It was just about, hey, I want to help you sell your house, I want to help you buy your house, and I just want to be a part of that process. But then it got deeper than that. You know what I mean? When you start building relationships with people, when you start understanding people's whys and the challenges that they go through, and that this transaction, this process now has transformed these people's lives. And like you're the centerpiece of that. Like the commission check, it don't even matter no more. Because now I have people that, like I said, they're like family. You know what I mean? Like that means a lot. And it's like, man, it's almost like a ministry of sorts.
So let's touch on that because I know you're a man of faith. And coming from a long line,
My mama don't need to see it.
people ask me all the time, I tell people, I say, you know what? I think God chose me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He's trying to encourage other people throughout my dating walk, with in business or whatever. I'm always trying to encourage people to be the best version of themselves. Purpose, walking purpose. Do you think that this is where God led you because you're having great impact, like you said?
Yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, I wish I would have been doing this 20-some years ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm firmly in my purpose, firmly where I'm supposed to be. God got me where He want me to be. There's no way I can do anything different. Like, I don't wake up and feel like I work every day. You know what I'm saying? If y'all ain't never felt that before, man, that's a different kind of, you wake up every day like, I'm about to do what I do. Like, I'm literally about to do what I love to do every day. It don't feel like work. Now, can it get taxing sometimes because you're dealing with so many different personalities, situations, got to think quick on your feet. It's just you're being pulled in so many different directions. But, it challenges you to make you better at what you do. It challenges you to make you a better person. So, it's just good every day, man. I don't have no bad days. Like I told you, if you have a bad day, there's something wrong. You can have a bad moment. You can have a bad moment, but if that moment makes you have a bad day, then you have no idea of understanding how to reset yourself in real time. That's what I teach my sons. I said, man, look, okay, you can have a bad moment, but if you let that make you have a bad day, then that's on you. You chose to have a bad day. So you got to be able to reset your mind, recalibrate, and say, okay, that happened. What am I going to do for the rest of the day? Because I'm a positive thinker. You know what I mean? So I'm always find the positive side of everything.
So with that mindset, I'm sure there are times.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, that was one. You know what? That was one thing that in my personal life I wasn't really good at, is dealing with tough situations, like having those tough conversations. So you can't get around it in real estate. It's too much on the line. You have to go and deliver that news. It's going to be tough, but what people going to always respect is the truth. They respect the honest, the God truth. This is what the situation is. So I can't go to you with bad news, but I also have to offer a solution. Where are we? How does this affect the timeline? How does this affect this house situation? Because people make plans based on getting under contract. Somebody selling a house, they have a new place to go. Where are they on their way to? And then if this person's about to buy a house, they leaving a place trying to get to this place. So if that gets derailed, that's real, like seriously, last month had a couple I was working with, and the first 2 weeks on the contract was great. We negotiated repairs, and then all of a sudden the agent went ghost. Seriously, went ghost. Wouldn't answer the phone, wouldn't respond to emails, wouldn't text me back, and everybody's like, what are we doing? We agreed to all this stuff, but nothing's happening. And then it was like the third week came, and then on the fourth week we supposed to close. We have nothing. We supposed to get a new roof. We supposed to get other repairs done to the home, and it was like, man, like I'm stuck. I had to find the lady's broker office, went to the office. They hadn't seen the lady in 2 weeks. I mean, I drove an hour to get to that office, and then just for them to tell me that they hadn't talked to her, but miraculously after I went to the office, she ended up calling me. And crazy, man. I'm like these. And I'm telling the guys, I'm like, hey man, y'all may want to we want to scrap this deal. And they was like, nah, but they had already spent money, And I'm like, I'll give you the money back just to get out of this deal, because I couldn't make this other person respond to me.
And it's hard to trust that everything is on the up and up with something like that. Right?
Well, true enough, but I mean, this is the agent. And so I'm like, if I can't communicate with the agent, then nothing is really being done. Like, I don't want y'all to be in this situation. Yeah. But they was like, no, we want this house, So I'm delivering bad news to them constantly, without a solution because the only solution lies with the other party. So, but ultimately, I had to think outside the box. No, I'm gonna figure it out. I just need this lady to communicate with me. And ultimately, like I said, some outside the box thinking, got her to communicate. We got the deal done. They got in the house. Yeah, man.
Life over real estate.
Man, it can be, hey, you think you want to do this until you have to do this.
That's the funny part about it, right? Is I'm sure you got probably several stories of things where it's not as glamorous as everybody is.
I need a podcast.
These shows on TV about real estate agents selling multi-million-dollar properties and everybody wearing these nice tailor-made suits, nice fancy cars, but they don't show the background when the camera.
Man, it's a ton of work, man. It's not a 9 to 5, man. I've been on the phone with people late, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, talking people off the edge, just all kind of sorts of stuff, man. I mean, people get it. It's family stuff too. People get into it. You turn, like I say, you turn into a marriage counselor sometimes. Kids go crazy. Like, man, hey, you a dad? What you did in the situation? It turns into all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, the best thing about real estate is the day when the transaction have people get their keys or somebody gets their check. It's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, that's what the way we're trying to get to that point.
It's like
from A to Z.
It's like nothing happened.
Yeah,
you're like, it's crazy. But then you start having conversations like, man, we got here. Like, yeah, we got here, but everybody's happy on that day. And so at the end of the day, that's what really matters the most.
So how big is, I think I know the answer, but I'm not going to assume to know the answer to this. How big is network?
That cliche, your network is your net worth, is very real. It's very, very real. And that's the thing about real estate or starting a business, period. The first thing they tell you in real estate is lean on your sphere of influence, which is the people that you know, that people that know, like, and trust you, people that the contacts in your phone, your email, all your contacts, family, friends, whatever. Man, look, the idea is to tell everybody I got my license. I'm in real estate. You want to buy, sell, contact you. Man, nothing. Cricket.
Really?
Cricket.
I was going to ask that because, like you said, you during COVID, you decide to go and get your license, and then you let everybody know. And I know that it's typical that most of the time the people around us would be like, yeah, that's my boy and everything, but he don't know what he's doing. I know he got a license, man. I'm gonna go call somebody.
Hey, man, it's real time in the field like that. It's real. Like, I knew people that had transactions that didn't call me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but see, that's the thing. You can be salty about it, or you can do something about it.
Mm-hmm. I
wasn't salty about it because you don't really know me as a real. You know me how you know me, but you don't know me as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So would I have loved to have that business? Yes, but you also need some fuel to keep that fire going to kind of push forward. So you not choosing me was like, all right, I'm not mad. I'm just go out here and be great. And so nobody that I know really dealt with me until I started posting closings with people that nobody in my sphere of influence knew. Like, even one of my good friends, my first transaction was his sister. But I mean, most of the people that know me didn't know his sister and her husband. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he closed the deal. But then after that, it was like no association with my sphere of influence, the people that I was helping. And so it was like, okay, maybe he does do this.
They needed you to show proof that you could do that, right? Mm-hmm. You had to prove yourself in order for you to gain that credibility.
Which is somewhat kind of sad in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And especially like in our community, it's like, I got to prove to you that I do this before you trust me to do it. But I mean, like I said, I understand, that's kind of how things work. Wasn't mad about it. But now, like I say, I'm top of mind a lot. I earned that. I earned the right to be thought of as a for referral. Absolutely. This year has probably been my biggest year of referral activity in terms of, I'm always hunting for business, but a lot of the business now is coming to me. And so that's a testament to the work that I put in and the good work that I put in. People, hey, call him. So that's real cool. That's where you want to be as a real estate agent. You want to be referral based.
And also with the industry that you're in, how important is it for those people that maybe even thinking of, hey, I might want to do real estate since I'm a real estate agent? How important is it?
Man, look, most people go to their regular job and be undisciplined with the guarantee of a check. You know what I'm saying?
I say all the time that companies put standards in place to try to get people to do the job that they already agreed to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, most people make minimum requirements than maximum amount.
Exactly.
I'm going to do just the bare minimum where I can make sure that you're going to run me off when I get
Exactly. You know what I mean? So you have to wake up every day and you have to set a schedule. You have to have your calendar in place. Like that discipline and consistency doing the same activities each and every day is super important. And it's going to be boring. It's going to get monotonous. It's not going to feel like you're doing anything to move the needle forward, but you actually are. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that I would tell anybody getting into this business. Like, I mean, it's a great business to be in, but the failure rate is high. And it's not because it's a job, it's because it's a business. You look at small businesses, most businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years. So no different than real estate. It's like maybe 80, 85%, I think, failure rate within the first 5 years. A lot of that is due to the fact that you're not around the right people. You got to have a mentor. You got to have a team. I mean, even myself, like after the first year, I joined a team, and that team was the pivotal point to got me to where it's like, okay, I can really do this. I got around a group of people, and the team leader was a great mentor, taught me a ton, but I had did a lot of training up to that point on my own. It's like, because real estate school teaches you, it prepares you to pass the test. It does not prepare you to do the work.
Like most schools.
It's not the work. It's not the work. Like, man, like the only thing about real estate schools I think I use all the every day is the contracts. Other than that, all that other stuff really not being used. So you got to be around the people that have had experience, because no two transactions are alike, and being able to navigate these problems, because it's going to be, not every transaction is smooth. You know, how to negotiate, how to, understanding the contracts, how to get in and out of different situations within the contracts. So getting around the right people is going to help you be successful. I mean, like I said, there's some people that got into this and just took off and been great ever since. But a lot of people just, there's the ebbs and flows, because you got to get used to, like I say, being disciplined every day. You might have a great month, and then you might fall off for 2 months because you were servicing these people trying to have a great month, but not generate new business. It's like you restarting the cycle over and over. So you got to be able to put points in your day to where you're doing these things to keep your business moving forward, while also servicing these people simultaneously, and then start systems and processes to where you can scale. Because you're gonna get busy. Once you start being successful, you got to find, maybe a VA or some type of extra hands to help to do different things. Transaction coordinator, hey, do that. Like, I ain't trying to touch transaction. Push that off to somebody else. But that's the business expense. You got to pay for that. Just like a VA, you got to pay for that. You may have somebody cold calling for you. You may not like to make cold calls. You may have to hire somebody to do that. Get into this with the right. I would tell anybody, go talk to some real estate people first. Find some people that's fairly successful that do this full time. Because anybody's doing part time, you're not really getting the full.
Oh, they can really teach you how to do it.
You do it part time, yeah. Because they still comfortable getting that W-2 paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Those of us that's back against the wall, this is all the way we get paid. It's a different animal.
So, do you set like daily goals or monthly goals?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Bare minimum. Yeah, you got to have your goals set monthly, quarterly, half a year, semi-annual, and annual. You want to meet or exceed those goals regardless of what the market is. And like past couple years been real tough for a lot of people, but you got to outwork whatever that condition is. Like, we higher interest rates, high prices, people on the edge about buying. So a lot of listings sitting on the market right now because a lot of people not buying. Then you got a seasonal change right now. We're in the fall, winter months where it really slows down. The real estate naturally slows down on top of, economic conditions. So you got to be more than just a real estate agent. You got to become an economist. You got to understand, when the Fed Reserve is meeting, what type of decisions that they're going to make that's going to impact your local area. You got to understand what the local government is doing that's going to impact, look at development around your local areas. And okay, are they building houses or they stop slowing down houses? What's new construction doing? What is pre-owned homes doing? You got to understand the lay of the land holistically, not just not helping somebody buy or sell. You got to be able to talk real information, because the more information that you can pass on to your clients, the more they're going to believe and trust in you that you really know what you're doing beyond helping people buy and sell. But like I tell people sometimes, like, man, don't buy that house.
So you actually, that's refreshing that you say it, because as an agent, you want to try to be in the middle of, deal. You're looking at it from the standpoint of, hey, I'm not going to try to get you to buy something that you shouldn't buy.
Nah.
Just so I can make some money.
Man, I'm not going to have you do something I wouldn't want somebody to do me. You know what I mean? That's not cool. Man, that's a lot of money.
That's what integrity.
That's a lot, man. Look, that's the biggest purchase that most of us are going to have is our home. So there's no way I can put you in something that, a few $100,000 disaster. You know what I mean? Whether it's your decision or not, you're gonna still come back to me. Like, what? You didn't know about you ain't let us do this? Man, no. I like the other clients I was just talking about. I said, man, we might need to just walk away from this deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like I was willing to put up my own money and say, hey man, look, I'm gonna pay y'all the money y'all already invested in it so we just get out and go get something that's better.
Now that goes a long way. When I'm dealing with somebody that I know, hey, you willing to put skin in the game to make sure that I'm most of them see it's very few and far between people that like yourself and stuff. I'm saying, I pull the money.
Yeah, man. It's not something that as an agent, it's not something I have to do. But I mean, it's just like the same time, man, I'm trying to put you in the best situation you can be, especially we in this real pressure cooker that we was in at that time. It's like I can't. There's beyond my control. Just not with the other side not communicating with us. So for me, that was the best way at that time. Was like, all right, man, look, we can go get another house. And I can drop this off to y'all. I consider that like a business expense. The price of doing business. Sometimes I've done it a lot. Y'all done it a lot. You know what I mean?
From where we come from being born and raised, that's what we consider solid.
Yeah.
It's that I always say that we came up doing an era. We hanging out. I got a sandwich. You don't have anything.
We gonna split it in half. You know what I mean? We gonna split it in half. It's just natural for me. Like I said, I'm in business to make money, but I'm in the people business. I'm in the human business. So I'm not gonna be, out here. I'm not desperate like that.
Your name is more important than anything. At the end of the day, no matter, you can lose everything financially. The name is what you
stand on.
That's how we were raised. Right? We want people to be able. It's the last name.
That's right.
So you got two sons, and so whether they see everything that you do or not, you want your name to matter and be respected.
Right.
That's what you pass down to generation.
Exactly. And I'm a firm believer. It always come back. It's always come back around. You know what I'm saying? I may not know when it come back. It may come back. It may not come back in the same way that it went out. It may not be money. I may be getting good fortune somewhere else. You know what I mean? You just never know. Whatever good fortune, I'll be like, it came back around. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, you just got to be, a human in business. There's some humanity in that. You know what I mean? Yes. Just like everything can't be about dollars.
Yeah. Everything is not transactional. It's all about building good relationships and, again, building a name for yourself where people know they can trust you. The industry you're in, that's the key thing, because if you do a bad transaction or bad faith, that can kill all future business.
You can. I mean, I tell people all the time, don't buy something, man, you can't come home from work and pull up to and be good.
Yeah.
We live in DFW, man. You go to work, you done been in traffic. Last thing I want you to feel like when you pull up, man, that damn Carranza taught me to get this sorry. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing
They be cursing your name.
We're not doing that. Nah, man. I want you to feel good when you come home. It needs to be a safe place. Like, man, I'm so happy I got my house. I'm going here and be comfortable. I dodge all this crazy traffic. That's everything, man. If you've never owned a home, man, you just don't know.
Exactly.
Like, when you can go into your place that you paid for, you control your environment, you know what I mean? It's a different feeling.
So what do you see, especially in our community? What are some of the biggest things or biggest excuses, I would say, or reasons that people give you for why they aren't trying to be
commitment issues?
Commitment issues.
It's big. It's a big educational gap. Big educational gap. A lot of people don't understand what owning a home can do for them. You know what I mean? In terms of setting them up for wealth. Like, I made a post last week. I was doing some research on the how long people rent. So the average age of a renter starting out is like 23. And right now, the average age of a first-time homebuyer is 40.
17
years. So 17 years. Yeah. In America, the average rent's like $2,000 across America. So you're looking at like $408,000 if you rent for 17 years at that number.
Wow. You could have bought a nice house. Yeah. You bought a nice house for somebody else.
And you didn't spend all that money and walked away with nothing.
Yeah.
So, equity is not tangible. And in our community, we like tangible money.
Yeah. We want something we can see and feel in
We
our
want
hands.
to touch our money.
Yeah.
So that equity is like a ghost. It's like it's not really there when we having real conversation. But that's why I like to illustrate the real, like the transaction. On every transaction, when a buyer and a seller, that's called a settlement statement. So you got the buyer side, you got the seller side. And on the buyer side, it'll say, what you need to bring to close. On the seller side, it say cash to seller. There's always a number there on it says cash to seller.
Mm-hmm.
That is the money, the equity that seller is making on their transaction.
Yeah.
It's visible. You can see it. It's right there. And I've never seen a transaction where the seller didn't make money. I've never seen one.
That's fact.
People can argue all day. I think a lot of people argue negative points because they're unable to buy.
Okay.
So a lot of people, it's frustration. I get it. Things are high and a lot of the wages aren't keeping up with the price of things. And so there's a lot of people that's frustrated. Not that they don't want to own homes. It's just that our economy hasn't given them the ability to do so.
Yeah.
Like you working at jobs and you're not getting, your wages aren't increasing at the rate that everything else is increasing. So it's not like people don't want to do it. It's just like they just can't afford it. Yeah. But, people talk about taxes. In Texas, our property taxes are high.
Yeah, definitely.
Insurance goes up because of these weather events, hail and different things such as that. But I mean, you're paying it anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like, just because you may not get the bill with your name on it doesn't mean that rent actually includes the mortgage, the property taxes, the
Preach.
the HOA, all of that. It includes that and the maintenance.
Yeah.
So it includes all of those things, and you just because you don't have your name on it, I mean you're not paying it. Like the landlord is not your friend. He's not offering any charity. Because you pay $1,500 a month. Yeah, that his mortgage might be $900. He didn't own it for a very long time.
It may even be paid off.
So you may be paying exactly that part. You're actually probably, if it's paid off, then you're just giving positive revenue to him or her or their business, and they just go and buy more property.
Yeah, they're playing real life monopoly.
Man, and that's another thing. Like we thought that was a game growing up, but that's real life.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people do this, and that's another thing, man. It's like one thing about real estate agents. Everybody tell us our job. We don't need you. We can do this without you, or you don't know what you talk. Everybody know. I'm like, you don't go to the doctor and do that. You don't go to the lawyer and do that. You don't go to the accountant and do that. But real estate, man, we get a bad rap. But I'm like, man, we see this stuff every day. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. If you can do it, then fine. But I'm going to give you the information. Just because you don't like it, don't mean it's not happening. You know what I mean? Like we tell people all the time, when interest rates drop, the prices go up.
Okay.
When the interest rates are elevated, the prices come down. So case in point, 2020, 2021, interest rate dropped. We turned into a seller's market because what? The interest rates are low. When he heard about, man, people paying $40,000, $50,000 above asking price.
Because you're creating that demand.
You create the demand is there.
Yeah.
Because guess what? And this is the part that people don't understand. Like, where do they get that money from? Now you're competing against homeowners that are selling their houses they sold their house for $40,000, $50,000 above asking price. Now they're going to buy another house. They can afford to pay $40,000, $50,000 above asking price because
Makes
they got
sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
And that's like my first time home buyer when we was in couldn't win. We getting outbid because all these people got this money.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So you wonder where it's coming from. People got money saved up in K's, investment accounts, and property. So you're getting all this movement. A house going to market one day, it's sold the next day. Yeah. And then, we had the influx of people coming from California and all these other big places where their real estate is more expensive.
Because I know people were coming from California to sell a house for $1 million and they can come, a small house for $1 million, come to Texas at that time and buy a bigger house for half of that.
Man, I'm talking about, I was seeing some outrageous. I had a lady from Chicago came in town, man. We looking at houses, man. We got outbid like $75K for a house built probably like the end of the 90s in Grand Prairie.
Really?
75. I'm like, y'all paying $75? This hell?
But it was cheap compared to what she was used to.
It was cheap for them.
Yeah.
And they wondered, they're like, why the prices get out of control? Well, during that 2-year span where the interest rates were low, you create what's called a comparable sale in that neighborhood. Yeah. The price is not, it's not coming down. Now the appraised value is what that is.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, those houses, like I sold my house during that time. So, I walked away with $140K when I sold my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I participated in that. But at the same, and people wonder, like, man, why the price? Yeah. And so look at now, the interest rate 7-8% the last couple of years. If you look at, there was a report came out this morning in DFW, prices are like 84% less. The values are have lost 84% of value.
Wow.
This year. Absolutely. So those houses that in 2020, 2021, those prices coming down. Like I had a client, recently we put our house on the market in the spring at 655. We're at 520. That boy still ain't sold.
Because there's the market correction.
It's a correction.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. The interest rates are elevated. Demand goes away. It turns into a buyer's market.
Mhm.
Prices start to come down. So that's why I tell people now. I say, do you want to buy when you say, well, when the interest rates get low? No, that's not the time to buy.
Because it's going to be too competitive.
It's going to be too competitive.
You can't.
Right now,
you outbid you.
You can get what you want.
Yeah.
Almost. You know what I'm saying? You find a house that you can afford and go and ask for everything. Every day. Every day. Your name get pulled out that hat. That's what I call my boy. When I got my name put, I said, man, my name got pulled out the hat, bro. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man. Got laid off. You just,
It's happening
more and more. Like there was information this year. 300 black women got laid off earlier this year. It was like 300,000 black women were laid off this year. That's just black women. Now, who are the most educated right now?
I always say we all too.
That's it.
So that's why I'm big on ownership, big on entrepreneurship.
Right. And I mean, I'll even tell people, man, like if you want to do real estate is a great thing to do part-time, but you're going to have to answer your phone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can do 4 or 5 deals in a year, and that's better than clocking in somewhere on a part-time job. You know what I'm saying? Like you can really make, a whole other income part-time without investing the full amount of time. If you chose to do it and got around the right people and did it the right way. It's people that do it all the time. So, and I think that's why a lot of people get into it too. They want the flexibility, but it's going to get to a point to where you'll get that, you'll start getting them clients. You'll be like, man, you know what? I just need to leave this alone, this job alone, and just press forward.
That's the goal, right? I know for me, it's always been, hey, work your plan B while you plan A.
Right.
And you want to get to the point to where you can tell plan A, hey, this ain't working out. Basically, you want to find a job.
I tell people that for real because real estate is expensive. I mean, if you don't have, I'll tell anybody, man, you get into this, you need to have about 6 months of money saved up.
And that's the key that a lot of people, they don't have that financial stability, or not even the stability, they have financial mentality, right? 6 months. Wait a minute, because there's a certain amount of discipline.
Right. There's a lot of upfront investment, you're going to have to make. Even so, there's a lot of driving potentially because 9 times out of 10, when you first start this game, you don't get a lot of listings. You're going to be working with buyers. So you may be doing a lot of driving. You got to pay your fees. Or you got to, whatever investment you got in marketing or whatever the case may be. Social media makes that a lot easier because you do a lot of things for free. But, bills still got to get paid. So, that's why it's cool when people have a job. I'm like, man, don't quit your job just yet. Because you don't know if this is really what you want to do.
June. I mean, I still haven't seen the reward stay in certain positions where they're not necessarily happy, but they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Because they know it's familiar, they know I can count on it until they can't.
I mean, man, being comfortable is dangerous.
Yes. I always say being comfortable is the first symptom.
Being comfortable is dangerous, man. Like you say, you get your name pulled out your hat. You know what I'm saying? You just, no, man, you got to have a plan in place. And that's the thing about real estate, man. It's something different every day. You got to get up and go get it every day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, man. Like if you're not close to my life, you wouldn't know some of the stuff I be dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like some people close to me, they like, man, if I didn't hear this phone call, you couldn't have told me. You couldn't have told me that really happened in real life. Like this is what you do every day? Yes. Solve problems every day. Big problems.
I saw where you posted about a month or so ago. You were going over to a client's property to install doorknobs or something like that.
There was a new lock on the door. There was a lock on the door. Yeah. Lock, everything got messed up. Like, and she was like, it was one of my listings. She was like, man, what am I supposed to do? I got it. We got
full service.
We got to rekey this thing locked. Man, I done painted houses. Man, I'm talking about, bruh.
Whatever, by any means.
By any means necessary, man. I did a whole lot. for these clients, man. But it's all out of love, man. Just love for what I do.
That's that certain level of, like you say, you own your own business, so that's that certain level of sweat equity.
Yeah.
As I always tell people, being an entrepreneur is not for you.
Man,
you got to.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Like I say, the idea of being a boss, man, y'all can have that.
Yeah.
Y'all can have that. Being a boss is overrated. Experience at times. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So it's like you work entrepreneur life, man. You working way more than what you do with them 40 hours. 40 hours a week, that's cake. Entrepreneur life, bro.
There's no. That's the thing. There's no set schedule. And when people hear that, it's easy to say, "Oh, there's no set schedule." I mean, I can do it when I feel like. No, that's not what it means. That means that today I may work 22 hours. Today I may work 24 hours. I may not get any sleep. I got to be here. I got to do what I'm doing until it's done. Not until I feel like, okay, I'm ready to stop. And that's the key thing. Aren't built.
No. Yeah. Hey, man, look, you look at most real estate agents, man, you see all these little memes and stuff online, man. People going on vacation. They can't even go on vacation. You on the phone. You at dinner. You on the phone. I mean, if there's a deal on the table, man, you got somebody's life in the palm of your hand. You better pick up that phone.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that out, man. Hey, back with you.
So the people you choose to be with relationship wise, man, they don't understand, man. You got to cut them loose. Hey, man, I'm on this phone. I'm on this laptop. Hey, look, hey, success comes with a cost. It comes with a cost, man, and everybody don't understand what that is until you see it. People are like, I want to, a partner make 6 figures, man. Do you know what come with that?
Yeah, it's easy to see, and that's the other part, right? That they want to be there for the wins. I want to be there for the celebration, the finish line. There's a long journey, twists and turns, and a lot of pitfalls.
Yeah,
where it's easy if you're not built for it. As soon as you get to that first fork in the road,
right.
That's what keeps a lot of people from reaching that certain level that they think they want to be, but they don't want to put forth the energy and effort to go through all the ups and downs, be able to get to the finish.
But what people don't understand, that transformation that happens to you organically as you're going through the ups and downs. That's why if you're dealing with somebody that's successful or somebody that's building and they've gone through a lot, man, they're not going to have time for your BS. You know what I'm saying? They didn't did too much to make themselves who they are. And it's not an arrogance at all. It's just that it's just something that it's created in you. It's just in your gut, in your soul. Like, you know what I'm saying? I built myself up to this point. Nobody's going to bring me down.
Yeah. And what they don't see is like people that don't know you. Somebody see and they'll think, oh man, he's an overnight success. They don't see all those sleepless nights for the last 5+ to get to this point where
never.
You might work overnight.
Oh, I done worked overnight.
Exactly.
I done worked over. Look, that's what I tell my sons. I be trying to, I tell them, I say, man, look, you have to do the little things a whole lot consistently every day. It's gonna feel like to the outside world it was overnight, but you know what you've done. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I tell them, I said, man, look, you see the finished product of LeBron James. That's what you see. You see that version. You didn't see all that work that he put in when he was in high school to get drafted out of high school. All these people, you see the finished product. You don't see all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, like the work. And that's why they protect it. That's why they feel so different about their craft and whatever they doing, because they experience all that heartache. It's a lot of losses. It's a lot of heartache. It's a lot of struggle, strife, disbelief. Anything that you can think of bad, lack of confidence, who am I? You look in the mirror, I mean, you like, man, you challenging yourself. You really don't know. And you got to come out of all that negativity that's within you, not even considering the outside negativity that may be coming your way. You got to overcome yourself first.
Yeah. And that's the toughest thing, right?
Yeah.
I've heard somebody say before, it's called imposter. When you start to question that.
You are.
You're able to achieve a dream, right? And I've heard somebody say in the past that if your dreams don't scare you, then you're not big. You got to become somebody different to achieve what you're trying.
You have to. You cannot be the same person sitting without success and turn into somebody with success. It's going to change you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think that's the part of the narrative that, in society, we look at bad, like what's like changing is bad. No, you can't grow unless you change. You know what I mean? You cannot grow without change. It doesn't make you a bad person because you change. It's good, but you will be different. You're supposed to be different.
It's evolution.
If I'm the same person I was 5 years ago, I would not be sitting in this chair right here today. You would have never looked at me and thought of, hey man, I want to invite this guy and have a conversation with him and different things like that. But I had to overcome a lot. Even like I have a lot of mentees, man, that they are so afraid of social media. They will not post themselves on social media. And I'm like, they're like, well, you do it so easy. I said, do you know how many times I fumbled through videos?
Yeah.
Like, fumble, man. I'm talking about redo it. Man, I gotta redo it. I gotta redo it. Like you see the last one I posted, but you didn't see the first 20 that I stumbled through.
Funny because we had this conversation before. What people don't even realize about me is, I'm hosting this podcast and all that. I'm really shy by nature. I'm an introvert, and I never like the sound of my voice. So for me to be doing this, when I tell you this is like stepping outside of my comfort zone, it's like you say, everything you want is outside of it.
Yep.
Right? It'd be easy to just stay in this little box and be like, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable, life is good, but you're never going to achieve anything that's worth having without becoming somebody new.
That's right. I mean, confidence is the product of repetition. So you have to do things consistently and a lot in order to get confidence. I mean, just think about it. Just, like I said, I'm a dad. I talk to my kids all the time. I say, man, you used to learn how to walk, you used to bust your butt, but you kept getting up. You know what I'm saying? We all have levels of fear based on adults that raised us, because we had no concept of fear when we were little. If you look at any psychologist and talk about kids probably have the biggest imagination, the biggest everything, until adults start telling them, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. Because when you're a child, you believe you can do anything. You'll climb up on something real high and jump off and think you can fly. You don't know. You know what I mean? And so as we become adults, we get wired and indoctrinated into all these different mindsets and different things of the people that raised us and the things around us, and we become less of a version of ourselves. But there's a greater version of yourself on the other side of all that stuff. You know what I mean? You just got to believe in yourself and just go for it. Like, I mean, what do you got to lose? I can tell my friends all the time. I say, man, y'all are so smart and have ideas, but you afraid to do it. I said, but I said, there's one thing you know how to do better than anything else that you don't even know that you know how to be better than. And it's like, what is that? I said, you know how to be broke.
True. Now, that's a word.
The greatest fear anybody has about stepping out and being successful or doing and trying different things is you're going to be broke.
Absolutely.
Coming from where we come from, man, you know how to be broke. Being broke at the end of the world, I got stuff to sell that can get me over. You know what I mean? Like, there's creative ways. Got the internet. You afraid to be broke. You're afraid to be looked at like a fool or having a little shame. You're going to have to, I mean, it just is what it is. Nobody believes in you. If you want somebody to believe in you, man, you got the wrong mindset. You got to prove it to yourself first. Like I said, there's somebody quoted this thing one time, man. I don't know who it was, but it said, it's not that you're afraid to be great, it's that you're going to be asked to be great again and again and again, and you don't want to do it. Somebody asking you to be great multiple times, you like, no, I just want to do it once. No, do it again. And that's the same thing in real estate. It's like, if you can get one transaction done, you can get many. You know what I mean? And you got to have that proof. Like I said, when I got that first deal done, man, that was it for me. I'm unstoppable.
Because I always say the best way to stop momentum is never let it get you. So once you get that first one, okay, now all I need to do is, even though every transaction is going to be a little different, I got experience now. I know what I need to pull from in order to get this thing across the finish line. So now you just duplicate it.
That's the confidence. That's the repetition. Yes. That's where you start getting the confidence. I mean, like I say, it's the learning. You take in so much information, and you got to get, now it's time for the output. That's just where it's at. And so people like, you can just talk, like, my son be like, man, you can just talk to anybody. Man, that's what I do. We had to verbally communicate. We couldn't hide behind a text message or anything like that. We had to talk to people.
If you couldn't talk to people, there'd be a lot of single brothers. Wasn't no sending a DM sending her a text message. If you couldn't walk up to her and ask her, hey, what's your name? Can I have your phone number? And you got shot down a lot.
Hey, man, it's the chance you took. And that's another thing in the world, man. Nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to feel down or be told no. Mm-hmm. But, like I say, our generation, we had to do that. There's no joy. No greater joy than a young man going up and talking to a young lady and getting that phone number wrote down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's even greater when you call this right number. You know what I mean? And then not only that, that's a challenge. You get the number, then you got to call a house and then a mom and a daddy pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So then you get past that barrier, you're like, man, it's on.
Listen, it taught us to be able to
Deal with rejection. And that's real estate, man. You get told no all day. All day. Hang up. You calling people, hey, you know, there's a lot of rejection. You know what I'm saying? But it don't take one person to say yes. The more no's you get, the closer to the yes that you get. You know, it is.
So I can tell when you talk about your son, you're proud of. I can see your face right up when you talk about that. So now they're at the age where I think one of your sons just graduated. Now he's an HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about that. How did that decision?
Well, I mean, so as a parent, I know that there's multiple options to being successful. You know, going through life, and it's not like one path. So my goal was to always give them options. There's no one size fit all type thing. So as I've been going through this entrepreneurial processes, you know, anybody that I meet, I introduce them to it. You know, hey, ask questions. Be curious. You know, what do they do? How do they do it? You know, if there's something they want to do. So one of my friends, he's had an HVAC company for a long time. My sons met him and whatnot. He did some work on my commercial building when I had my arcade and all that stuff. And I call him right now to service my clients. So they got interested in it. Those became an option, you know. Then also me being in this industry, you know, I talk to builders. I know where there's a lack of, you know, trades, whether it's plumbers, electricians, HVACs, carpenters. There's just it's not enough. And so the opportunity for them to, you know, get into that business and thrive for the rest of their life. Like really, you can eat for the rest of your life, you know, because it's not enough. And it's going to take a long time before the number of HVAC techs or plumbers or electricians to even get to a level to where it's like diluted. You know what I mean? They should be good forever, but that's kind of how that manifests itself. And then, like I said, based on, like I said, my kids are not me. I was a nerd. They ain't like school. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I got to figure out something, give y'all some options to where, you know, because we're not going to college wasting no money.
That's profound what you said, because I've met so many people that, and not knocking college, you know, education is important, but for me, I've always felt like knowledge is important.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen so many people.
Man, I know so many people. Still paying that student loan, though. And then that student loan got you where you can't buy a house because your debt income ratio too high.
Speak on it now. You about to upset some people, but the truth is the truth. Truth is the truth. You don't care who tells you.
I'm trying to tell you, man, that's me, man. Like I said, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to give you the information. It is what it is, you know. Like I said, when I'm dealing with my client, that's what they respect about me. You know, I'm going to give it to you like it is. This is your situation. This is what you can do, this is what you can't do. You know, I had a conversation with some young couple last night, and, you know, they had in their mind what they were thinking. You know, basically, you know, young lady was like, you know, I want to spend about $225. I said, you want to live in a crack house?
Come on now.
She was like, excuse me? I said, look, anything livable in DFW 225 is a condo. That's it.
In case you're not clear on what he's saying, anything 225,000 or less, you're not gonna get what you.
No, you're not. Your idea of what that looks like probably is not what it really is in reality. Now, I know some small cottage style houses out in Crandall you can get. You know what I mean? Like 225. It's a brand new. Probably won't have a garage, but it'll be a brand new house. Because I mean, it's different, man. Like in 2015, I bought a 5-bedroom house, over 3,100 plus square feet for $252. In 2015, you know, 7 years later, I sold it for $400. You know what I mean? So it's a different world.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about people have this mindset of, hey, this is what I want. I only want to pay this. It's not going to jive.
It won't. You know what I mean? And it's a hard situation that we're in because, you know, affordability is where it's at. But I mean, renting is hard. Man, do you know to rent some places you got to have a 600 plus credit score. You got to make 3 times the rent, you know, then you got to, you know, clear a background check. That wipes out so many people alone.
Yes.
And that's just to rent. Those are buying qualifications, except for the background. You don't have to worry about background. But I mean, a 600 credit score, you can buy a house 3 times the rent. That's an income to buy. So some people are opting to rent when you can just go ahead and buy.
Depending on where you are in this area, that's not upscale luxury. That's
no.
Just for a simple 1-bedroom, maybe 600 square feet.
Right. And your money is going to take you to a location. That's what a lot of people need to understand. Like, you want a good school district, you're going to pay a higher price. And DFW school districts kind of dictate, pricing, good neighborhoods, different things such as that. So your money is going to take you. Once you tell me what you can afford, let's look at the map. This is where you can live. Bottom line, it is what it is.
It's funny because that's kind of like, I remember back in the days where you could go to a car dealership and the car salesman would come out and be like, hey, what are you looking to get? And you tell them, hey, there was a change in that where salespeople decided, hey, man, I'm not going to be out here having you test driving all these vehicles before we even go in and pull your credit and realize you can't afford none of the stuff.
Right.
A lot of them now will, hey, let's sit down and talk numbers first, and then we can show you.
I mean, that's what we do in real estate. I mean, I'm not just going to be showing you houses and I have no idea if you can afford it or not. Yeah. So, the process basically is we get you with a lender, get you pre-approved. Now we understand what your budget is. I also understand where your location is going to be. You know what I mean? So, it's that process, just because a lot of people, you want to go look at the big fancy stuff. Man, look, you
can window shop on your own. You can on the weekends or whatever and go
because we're not going to waste time. We're not going to waste time looking at stuff we can't transact on. Yeah. And then now you realize you can't do it. Now you're disappointed. And now you you start retreating. It's like, I don't want to buy now because I can't buy that house. Now I'm going to re-sign my lease. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and get that out the way early, kind of understand where you are in the process. Sometimes people have to wait. They want to wait for their dream. But people don't understand, the longer you wait, the more you pay in real estate.
The dream only gets more expensive.
Yeah, because properties appraise. Appreciate in value. So, if you don't just get you won't get what you feel is good for you at this moment, then by the time you want to get the house that you really want, that house going to be a different price, So, and then everybody thinks the market's going to crash. That's not happening. We have a serious supply and demand issue. There are not enough homes. Even though we're in a buyer's market and houses stand on the market longer than normal, longer than 2020, 2021, people think, it's going to crash. No. And then real estate is hyper local. DFW is almost recession proof. Yeah. I always say it all the time because, if you look at '08, man, here in '08, it kept moving. The economy kept moving. And now that we've come out of COVID into this era that we're in currently, although it's still kind of slow real estate wise, man, it's still moving. People still moving here. You know what I'm saying? They building another Terminal F out of DFW right now. So that means more people are coming here because we centralized to America. You get anywhere 4 hours on a plane. And, you got the Goldman Sachs of the world, different things. They're moving their headquarters here. The stock exchange is coming to Dallas. More housing, more money. You know what I'm saying? So there is somewhat of a price correction going on, but it's not going to plummet. There's no way it's going to plummet. And then, like I said, it's a lot of money moving around Dallas, man. It's a lot of money moving around Dallas. We the fourth largest metropolitan area now in America. Houston was above us at first. Now we're there, man. We're 8 million people.
That's why the traffic's.
I'm telling you. Man, continue to grow in this real estate space. Man, I'm just really kind of scratching the surface. I haven't really maximized, myself in this space, but just continuing to grow, trying to determine. I got a 5-year plan, man. I'm trying to retire in 5 years. 5 years, man.
Probably not at the same.
Not 100% let go, but not at the rate that I'm at right now. So over the past 5 years, man, I've been hustling, man. I towed 2 cars, driving around there.
Trying to close deals,
Literally, man. Look, I go anywhere. I've been all over the place. And so getting a little bit older, man, I'm like, man, I can't do this like that no more. Not that capacity. But over the next 5 years, just trying to find my sweet spot. And I think I want to go into being a real estate coach. I don't want to manage people, man. Grown folks are a headache. That's why I'd rather do the coaching thing. That way I don't have any real responsibility, more, from that perspective, from the business perspective. But coaching and encouraging people, I'm real good at that, and I understand being able to solve problems, giving people solutions and different things like that, and just trying to push the next generation of real estate agents to be, to be great. I have mentees that I mentor currently, and, they're all doing pretty well. And so they all like, man, you want to be a coach or start a team? I don't want to do all that.
I know that you've done some public speaking at schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How often do kids come up to you after?
Man, all the time, man. These kids are hungry for something different. Talking about the math, science, history, the things, the subjects that they talk in school. Every school that I've gone into and talked about real estate, man, every teacher that comes out like they'll never be that quiet. It's like they're
Because you're
tuned.
exposing them to something they don't.
Yeah, they're tuned in. They're tuned in, man. And that's like I said, doing it with my sons, I can see their wheels turning, just introducing them to different people. And we got to give our kids options, like real world options and people that they can actually touch. Because with the internet, man, look, the internet is like I say, it's not a real place. So they're seeing people that they think are successful that are not. But being able to touch somebody like me, I'm a real person. You know what I mean? Like I do real work. I can show you tangibly what I do. That's important. It's not a facade. Like, we used to have to watch TV and, we see the different things, but being able to talk to somebody and say, look, I make a good living for myself and I take care of myself, and understanding that success is not always being multi-millionaire. Man, being successful, man, being able to take care of yourself, have a roof over your head, have food, just life gets simple. And we realize that the older we get, but we need to put that in these kids' minds earlier because they chasing something that may not be attainable, but what is attainable and is, available to you, is a good life. They don't realize that when they go to the grocery store, you walking around successful people, you just don't know it.
Because the most successful,
Not at all.
no, really. And again, success is not just tied to financial, but in most cases, you just looked at them, you wouldn't have a clue because their mind is not about trying to show. It's not about trying to show what they got. So they don't get caught up. They may walk in with some torn jeans, some dirty shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They can buy everything in the
Everything in the space. And like I said, man, and that's why I like talking to the kids, man, because they just so interested and they hungry for that information and something different, and it's just, I don't know what happens when they go home though. You know what I mean? I don't know what type of environment they're in when they go home, when they go home and say, hey, I met a real estate agent at school today and he said I can do this. But if you go do that and your family has never purchased a home, they may have a negative perspective on that whole thing. You know what I mean? Or somebody around them had a bad experience with a real estate agent. Now they kill the kid ideas and dreams of doing that. My thing, like I said, like I've talked to Texas Can Academies, some middle schools, different things. So right now I got a scholarship that I'm going to offer to the seniors at Texas Can, the top 2 GPAs for this semester to go to real estate school. So it's like, what's the point of me going here and talking to y'all if I can't provide something to you or give something back to these kids? You know what I mean? So, like I tell them, you can get into real estate, it's so many other ways to be successful within the real estate space. I mean, you can start a transaction coordination business. You can be an appraiser. You can be a home inspector. I mean, taking pictures, photography, man, big. I tell anybody, man, right now, you can do photography and video and master social media. It's a whole lot of Jexers that don't know how to do anything social media wise.
gladly pay somebody.
Me included. I'm very, very, hey, I'm still learning. I post myself, man, but if I can have somebody else do it for me, I pay them.
So what are the requirements for somebody that, is there an age?
18, graduate from high school. It's simple, man.
That's another avenue. Because let's be, every kid coming out of high school should. I mean, if you got a child that you know is barely doing the bare minimum, making it out of high school, the kid need to have some other options to put them on the right path towards having a successful career.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not saying that everybody's going to go into real estate, but it's all about creating options.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that we need to be feeding more of that information into these schools so kids can see that, hey, I don't have to just have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the numbers dictate that.
Right.
So we got to start giving them options at an earlier age to where they can actually be able to do something positive and constructive. So that's where it's
Man, I challenge parents to do this. If you have kids, you're an adult, right? You go to work every day and you know what you make in your salary, whether you check the check or you doing pretty well. Why would you send your kids to college, especially having all this information, knowing they go choose a degree path to that's not going to fund their life? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, have your child even, you have the opportunity, like if your child says they want to be, do some AI work, or, be an engineer, or, any type, whatever their major is going to be. Have you introduced them to somebody that does that work?
You may find out.
Because you're looking at titles, but we know every title, when you get into that workspace, what all comes with that. So in my mind, if I would tell any parent that's listening, take a different approach. You know what I'm saying? Reverse engineer that thing. You want to be this? Okay, well, let me go find somebody that does that so I can introduce you to them. Maybe they can shadow them at their job, see what the day-to-day looks like before you go spend $100,000 at a university for them to get out of school, get a job. It was like, this isn't what I thought it was.
Exactly. Yeah, like I'm saying, I ask people, what's your GPA? Whether you're in school or not, your GPA is nothing more than you need to come up with a plan to achieve that goal. You need to have consistent action. What I tell people is, it's okay if you decide in the middle of it, you're going to change the goal. But you need to make that decision. Okay, so I thought I wanted to go to school to be an attorney. And then I realized that, hey, I'm not cut out for this. Okay, let's go ahead and rewrite this. Let's change the goal to something that I really want to do. Come up with a new plan and then put forth action. But it has to be in.
Right.
We got the action down, but we have no concept of where we're trying to get to and what it's going to take us to get.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the thing. I applaud you for going in and speaking to youth and inspiring them, giving them the information, because the inspiration is only going to last so long.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to give them real world information on, hey, this is.
Yeah. But I mean, and they got to see it, man. And giving up, you can't give up just because it get hard.
True.
It's, like I said, everybody ain't supposed to be able to do it. It's supposed to be, you got to be able to come over. It's going to be hard. Everything, it's going to be hard somewhere. You got to choose your hard. Being broke is hard. You know what I'm saying? Being broke is hard. But doing this work and not being broke, hey, man, the more you overcome, the easier things get. And like I said, the more action you put towards things, the luckier you get. It seems lucky to the outside world because they don't see the work. They don't see all the work that you've done, and it's like, man, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. It looks like that to you, but you haven't seen all this work that's been put in.
So, I know you touched on it before, but what's your definition?
Man, being able to, for me, it's just being able to take care of what I want to take care of. You know what I mean? You get blinded by society when younger. Younger me would have been like, I just want to be rich, buy my mama a house, do all this stuff. You know what I mean? But now success is basically, man, being able to be healthy, being able to get up and do what I love each and every day. Got a roof on my head, food, my kids taken care of. I ain't never had to ask nobody for nothing, thankfully. You know what I mean? So I don't owe anybody anything. And then like the other day, man, matter of fact, yesterday, driving, I was going to Shreveport. I said, you know what? This is what success is. Because I was able to get in my car, fly to Louisiana, be there for a friend, come back on my own accord. I ain't have to ask nobody, I have to put in no PTO. With the idea somebody may say, no, you can't go. We need you here. Or I got to call in and now I got to get a point or infraction or whatever. You know what I mean? I had to do all that. That felt like a successful life to me, being able to do that on my own accord. I don't have to ask anybody's permission to do anything, and that even being a friend in a needful situation, I was able to do that. You know what I mean? So, and that's not a brag, but that's just, the position that, I've earned for myself. You know what I mean? Because it's not, but when I got back, I had to work. I was last night, man, I was on. I had to make up for that time because it doesn't stop. I mean, even while I was there, my phone was ringing, and I was, texting and picking up and answering, but I couldn't get anything done until I got back to my office. So got back home, got at my desk, and man, I'm talking about, I had a full day's work last night. Yeah.
You could have, but you can't.
I could have. It wouldn't have been smart to do so anyway, because, a couple of these were new opportunities that, just came my way. I had like maybe 3 new opportunities just yesterday evening that were referral calls. Hey, I got somebody. All right, let's get them on the phone. Let's go. So the work never ceases, man. But being able to do that yesterday, man, it meant a lot to me to be able to be there for my friend. And, during that time, and that's what success is, man. That's what it is. Being able to take care of you and your people.
So I know you say your phone rings out the hook, rain is nonstop. Get some more phone calls. Can people reach out?
And my cell phone number is 972-814-3062. I'm on social media, Carranza Wade, pretty much on every platform. Find me, call me, text me, email me. All my information is on my social media pages. But yeah, that's my direct cell phone number. Y'all can call me anytime. You know anybody that want to buy, sell, invest, you want somebody that want to become a real estate agent and need a mentor, I don't mind helping, man. I help everybody. I don't care what brokerage you're with either. So some of my mentees are with other brokerages. So, you want to sit in on some of our calls, you can do that. I do Zoom calls with them. We talk about different things, different situations we're going through with transactions and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, whether you're an agent or a potential client, hey, come my way.
So there you have it. We've been talking with success with Carranza Wade. Good brother. He's inspiring people. He's reaching out to the youth. He's helping the community. I mean, we need more people like you, brother. So I just want to tell you, I
appreciate it, man.
Anything you need, we're going to stay locked in. We're going to make some amazing things happen. Stay tuned. So you guys will see more from Carranza. This has been this week's episode, Talking with Success. Thank you.